Hey, what is going on guys? It's Moto, and today I'm going to show you how to install LED pods on your Yamaha TW200. So the pods I chose are Rigid Industries D series, and I really like these pods because they're super durable and they're also made in the United States. So I'm going to be mounting them on my Yamaha TW200, and I'm going to be mounting them where the reflectors used to go on the front forks. And obviously there's a bunch of different ways and different places you can install LED pods on your bike, but this is the way that I think will work best for me, so let's check it out. So the only tools you'll really need for installing LED pods on your motorcycle are a pair of wire cutters. Some assorted electrical connectors would help a lot. Also, you'll need some sort of mounting bracket, and most LED pods come with a bracket included, as these did. And I've purchased a bunch of cheaper pods on Amazon, and they have all come with brackets as well. Another thing that I purchased on Amazon that I think will really help with this job and make sure that they stay secure and last a long time are these solder seal wire connectors. This is a 330 piece set that I got, I think, for under 30 bucks. And it comes with all these really nice connectors. And what's special about these connectors is not only are they color coded, they're heat shrink, and they have solder in the middle. So when you heat it up with a heat gun, the heat shrink will seal the wires, and it'll also melt that solder, which will really give it an extra level of security. So I'm gonna be wiring these LED pods to my high beam switch. If your LED pods don't come with connectors like these, you can easily purchase them on Amazon, and they're usually around 10 to 15 bucks. So if you're interested in purchasing waterproof connectors for your LED pods, you can purchase them off of Amazon. And this was one of the options that I chose, and they're pretty durable and they work well. I actually chose these because T-Dub's kid recommended them, and he beats the crap out of his bike, and they've lasted him, so I think they'll definitely last for what I need. But like I said earlier, I'm going to be using these connections that came on the LED pods, and it also came with this wiring harness that I can just plug them into. Alright, so the first step in putting these pods on is going to be to assemble the bracket. So the mounting hardware that comes with the rigid LED pods includes this bracket and then these nuts and bolts here. And in order to assemble them, you'll need a 10mm socket and a 13mm socket. So what you want to do first is just line up your bracket, and these brackets slip into the pods just like that. I'll go ahead and line them up how I want them to be. And you can always adjust it, but I'm just getting it set for right now. So that looks good. So what you want to do first with these guys is just insert the nut in between where the bracket's going to be. And you can kind of just drop it in just like that. And then go ahead and insert your bolt and try and get them lined up. And so we'll do the same thing for the other side. It's going to go in just like that. And it's kind of a pain, but just drops in. There we go. Just like that. We'll just get them snug for now. And we'll do the same thing for the other light. So let me open this package. And now that you have them in both lights, you can just snug them down a little bit more. And not too much, because you want to be able to still adjust them when you put them on your bike. Alright, so now that they're all snugged up, let's go ahead and take a look at where we're going to be mounting them on the bike. So I'm going to be mounting my LED pods on these brackets here located on the front forks. And these brackets were originally designed for the reflectors. And if you plan on removing the reflectors and putting the LED pods here just like I am, just make sure that wherever you live that is legal to do so, because having reflectors on the motorcycle sometimes is the law, so I would just double check. So now that you have the main bracket on your pod, the next thing you want to do is install this little bolt right here. And so to do that, you just go like that in there. And you want to make sure that this is up. You don't want to have it down because you won't be able to get the bolt in that way. So I just realized that the bolt that comes with the LED pods is a little bit too big for the hole. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill that out. And perfect, so that was a 5/16 drill bit for anyone that is doing the same thing I am. All right, so now that you have your pod on like that, what you wanna do is go ahead and insert the flat washer, then the lock washer, then the bolt. All right, and with a 13mm socket, you can go ahead and snug that down. And you don't have to tighten it too much because you can always adjust it later. So first thing you want to do is remove the front fairing, and to do that, you're going to want to use a Phillips screwdriver and loosen the Phillips head screw located on the bottom of the fairing. Next, push down and pull out to remove the fairing. And now with a 10mm socket, you can go ahead and remove the 2 bolts on either side of the headlight. All right, and once those bolts are removed, you can go ahead and just pull the headlight out and up to remove it from that bottom bracket. And just rest this down just like that. So the way I'm gonna wire this is I'm gonna use the rigid connectors that came with the LED pods. And as you can see, I cut the connection just because I didn't need all that wire. And if your light doesn't come with a waterproof connector already on it, kind of like this one, you can go ahead and purchase these Amazon ones and go ahead and then splice the wires in and seal them up really well. So what I'm gonna do first is just connect these 2 wires together, and then once these are connected, I'm gonna go ahead and connect the positive and negatives onto the motorcycle. Just gonna start by peeling them and then stripping each wire. All right, so now I'm just gonna connect positive to positive and negative to negative. And I'm gonna do that just like this. And this way it'll allow me to have some excess wire to connect it to the bike. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and strip this one a little bit more. All right, so now that these wires are connected, let's move over to the bike and see where we're gonna connect it to the bike. So looking at the TW200's headlight, I know that the yellow is the high beam, and this is the power that I wanna connect to, because every time I turn the switch for the high beam, I want these lights to come on. So I'm gonna be wiring these lights directly to the headlight connection. So what I'm gonna do is pull that connector out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and open this little cover here, and it just pulls off just like that. So I'm just gonna tap into these wires with the wiring harnesses that I have here. So with a really small screwdriver, I'm gonna go ahead and from this side, insert the screwdriver into the yellow, into the hole just like that. And then it's kind of a pain, but kind of wiggle it and it should eventually pop out. And you're essentially just trying to flatten the little tab that holds these in. Okay, and it popped out. So we're just trying to, with your screwdriver, flatten this tab right here. All right, and so I'm gonna do the same thing with the negative. You go ahead and insert in that little tiny hole. And it can definitely be a little bit of a pain, but take your time, don't break anything. All right, and I finally was able to get that one out. A little bit of a pain, but take your time and eventually they'll come out. So with my small flat head, I'm just gonna use it to pry the clip on this wire. All right, so I just made the clips a little bit wider so I can go ahead and insert my wiring harness. And I'm also gonna take a little bit of heat shrink and put it over the wiring harness. All right, and next I'm going to wire up the power simply by putting it alongside the yellow wire, just like that. And then crimping it with your pliers. All right, and I just realized that I made this way too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut the other one a little bit and just slide it back over. And now I'm just gonna take the negative clip and make sure I can open it up to accept a new wire. So now I'm gonna take my negative wire and connect it in with that one. Just like that. And I know it's only a little bit, but I'm just gonna use the heat shrink to make sure it's nice and secure. And same thing on the other side. And I'm actually gonna cut this a little bit with the razor so it can sit better. All right, and I'm just gonna use 2 little zip ties around these wires just like this, just for an extra precaution. All right, so now that these wires are connected, I'm gonna go ahead and reinsert them in here. So the high beam goes in here just like this. Clips in, and I'm gonna use these guys just to put them in a little bit more. Just like that. And it should click in. I'm gonna take the negative now and do the same thing. And I might need to move this zip tie hair over. And using my pliers, I'm just gonna click it right back into place. All right, so on the negative wire, my zip tie is a little bit too high, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off and place another one a little bit lower. All right, and now that you have all the wires connected back in, you can go ahead and close this flap. All right, so now that it is connected and the cover's back on, you can go ahead and reinsert it into the headlight. Just like that. And I noticed that the flap on the cover isn't closed all the way, and I think that's just because it's a little bulkier with the wires in there. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit of electrical tape over just to make sure it stays in place. So now that that's all connected, I'm just gonna go ahead and tidy up these wires a little bit. All right, so once you have the wires a little more tidied up, you can go ahead and reinsert the headlight housing. Start with the bottom and then the sides. And make sure you're not pinching any of the wires and there's no tight bends on the wires as well. Next, reinsert your 10mm bolts on either side of the headlight. Snug them up nice and tight. So now you can reinsert your fairing, starting with these 2 tabs up at the top, and then push down. And you can go ahead and reinsert the Phillips head screw at the bottom of the fairing. All right, so now that the wiring is complete and everything is put back together, you can go ahead and just adjust the lights. And one of the reasons why I wanted to put them on this bracket is because you can tilt down or up, and then with this bracket you can tilt side to side, so you can really customize exactly where your light is going to shine. All right, so now that I've installed the LED pods, I just want to go ahead and show you what they look like on my bike. Oh, this thing is fun off-road. I'm actually at my buddy's farm right now, and he's got like 30 acres of land, so him and his family have been gracious enough to let me use it and kind of ride around. So anyway, let's take a look at the LED pods. So I have my LED headlight in there right now. If you guys want to check that out, that's in a separate video. I'll make sure to link that in the description. But let's go ahead and turn on these pods. And there they are. As you can tell, they are really, really bright. And really helpful, actually. I tried these on road as well, and you can really see much farther. I mean, it really, really helps.
The only issue that I can see with these lights, which is probably an issue of where I mounted them, is that they do vibrate. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that on the camera, but I think one way I could fix this is just by putting in like some rubber washers in between the bolts, and maybe that would help with the vibrations. But I mean, even with the vibrations, I'll go ahead and turn them off again. It is so nice. Could rip across the field. You don't have to worry about hitting something, you know. And if you're on back roads, you can still maintain a good speed, and you won't have to be too worried about, you know, constantly trying to see what's up ahead of you. You know, you can see it now. Look at that. That's awesome. Oh, this is fun. Woo! Bumpy. Yeah, definitely vibrating, but it's not horrible. But if I was going to be riding for a long period of time, I'd definitely want to not see that, because I'm sure it would get annoying. So I'll probably do the rubber washers, and I'll definitely make sure to update you guys on whether or not that helped. I have a tripod somewhere out here that I set up so you guys will be able to see what they look like. And now I don't know where I put it. We'll find it. Man, it's beautiful out. It's nighttime. I think it's, I don't know, 8:30 out, 9 o'clock. And it's still like 65 degrees. So I just got a nice little light jacket, some light gloves. And it's just beautiful. Where is this tripod? Oh, there it is. So I'll stop here for a second, do a little walk, take a look at what they look like. I mean, they're really bright. And I've got them kind of faced outwards a little bit, so the light is not in line with my headlight. It's a little broader, it's a little wider, and that really gives me a good wide view. And one reason why I really like mounting these here is because I really have a full range of adjustment. I can go up with them, down, left, or right. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching my video. Oh, I'm bouncing around like crazy, woo! I hope this was helpful for you, and you know, I hope you guys took away something from this video, whether that be, you know, you want LED pods or you don't want them. I think they're a great option, but if you're not riding at night too much, it may not be something for you. Woo! Well, as always, I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in the comment section below. I really love answering your guys' questions. You know, I like helping out other motorcyclists if I can, you know, and that's what the motorcycle community is for. You know, because we all started somewhere, and I remember when I started, I definitely liked asking a lot of questions, so definitely feel free to ask them. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and ride safe.